here at the Politics Bar. Thank you very much for joining us from wherever you are. Thank you, by the way, to everybody who interacts with us on all of our great social media platforms, whether you're coming to us from Threads or Facebook, Blue Sky, Instagram, Twitter, Substack, or YouTube, or at the Politics Bar, which is where you're at as well. By the way, we have a new video up today. That's right. Actually, I got it up last night, because we were here at the bar, and then I stayed over and did a little bit of extra work, but it was fun. We had Utah State Senator Nate Bluin, who is running for that District 1 seat in Utah, the new one for the U.S. House. So if you missed that, you can check that out on the video platform over on YouTube at the Politics Bar. Thank you, by the way, also to everybody who calls in and leaves messages on the bar line, 213-677-7258, 213-677-7258. That's 213-677-SALT, like in your margarita. And remember, you can text that line as well. We had a couple. Paul gave us a couple. I'll leave one of them for a little bit later, because it's kind of a fun trivia question. Right. And the other one, I can leave that one for later too. It's, look, it's fun, but they're both drink related. So when we do the drink of the day, I'll have to tell you about it. So there you go. Look who we see coming in the bar right now. The one, the only Malcolm Nance, back at the Politics Bar. How you doing, Sailor?
Gosh, I can't believe I almost missed coming to the Politics Bar, which is funny because it's one of the few podcast premises that I really like, because we talked about what that bar was based on, and right now, believe it or not, I've been writing a fiction. Actually, I started it 5 years ago.
No way.
And one of the bars that's in it is Cafe San X. And on 14th Street in Washington, D.C., the old one, which your bar is based on. Well, sorry, I cheated you of some time, so let's start. We're supposed to talk about something. Is something going on?
No, there's no news.
Well, there's fine. Exactly nothing going on today. Well, and the funny thing is that we had Glenn Kirshner, a member of our legal bar here at the Politics Bar.
I love Glenn.
Oh, he's great. And we were asking him about Kegbreath's quote unquote war crimes, which, as Jody has noted, were not technically at war, so they're not technically war crimes, but they are technically crimes.
Well, I know a lot of people say that, but one of the things that I always get. These right-wing crazies on Twitter and other channels come out and go, oh, so you're a war crimes expert. Oh. Well, in fact, I did teach Geneva Convention for 2 years.
Exactly.
That's why I'm sitting there going, he actually kind of is. He's been over in Ukraine. And
but here's one of the things which it comes to, because there's a lot of legalese flying around. Right. One, the United States is not in a declared war.
Right.
But according to the Geneva Convention of 1949, we are in a state of armed conflict.
Okay.
And the Geneva Convention applies at any time there is a state of armed conflict, even if one side refuses to recognize that it is in a state of armed conflict. So the first moment that the first missile went off the rail of their Reaper drone and hit one of those vessels, whoever it belongs to, and it's very contentious because most drug boats come from Colombia.
Right.
But they've been hitting these boats off of Venezuela, and most of the people are Colombians. So by doing that, they initiated the state of conflict. Right. And now the Geneva Convention applies to both sides. So every boat strike after that was technically a war crime under the Geneva Convention.
Nice. So they are war crimes. So Kegbreath is in fact responsible for war crimes.
Right.
Yes, because we are attacking another entity or people. And that means that we are required, through our judge advocate generals, right? The guys he fired, are required to ensure that non-combatants are safeguarded. And there are these categories of people that are on the battlefield that are non-combatants. Bandits, people who are doing looting, criminals, even what we see in drug cartels, CCEs, right? Continuing criminal enterprises,
Uh-huh.
all
Right.
of which I wrote about in my manual that's used throughout U.S. law enforcement, the Terrorist Recognition Handbook.
Right.
Narco trafficking, unless you're Pablo Escobar and you blow up an airplane or
Mhm.
you actually use terrorist tactics, that's not terrorism. That's a illicit CCE, right? A
Right.
continuous criminal
It's a
enterprise.
type of crime, but it's not terrorism.
Right.
Right.
And we don't have capital punishment without due process in America.
Exactly.
So by carrying out these attacks, I know where this policy comes from. I think I may even have mentioned it before. This policy document that was drafted up on this is not the presidential finding, the secret presidential finding that was done in July.
Okay.
It was Tom Clancy's novel, A Clear and Present Danger. In which
Are you kidding? They actually grabbed this from
exactly no.
Yeah.
Everything that's being done is go watch the movie with Harrison Ford.
Oh, no. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen it, but you're saying basically Donald was probably sitting there watching that movie at some point and,
Yep.
and
his staff.
Oh, God.
Yep.
Man.
Yes, and they view what happened in the book was the FBI director goes down to Colombia,
Right.
and he's killed in an ambush.
Right.
And the president has a secret presidential finding in which he declares a secret war against the Escobar campaign, because the character is Escobar. And
Right.
Escobar has a Cuban intelligence officer working for him who's awesome. I mean, that guy is one of the more
Right.
real Tom Clancy characters where he goes out, he carried out this ambush. He actually cuts a secret deal with the president to have certain number of drug seizures.
Right.
But then they cut loose. They have a secret U.S. Special Operations group in Colombia blowing up drug labs,
Right.
watching runways, and they're shooting down airplanes and sinking boats in the novel. It's literally this minus Maduro, and they've all got together in the situation room. They're like, Maduro's just like Pablo Escobar. He's a narco terrorist.
Oh, my God.
There has
my
been
God.
no documented. Pablo Escobar actually
they're
carried out
cosplaying.
acts of terrorism.
They're
But there has been- yeah.
cosplaying with real weapons and
Yes.
real members of the military. In fact, you've got a piece up at your Substack. I believe
Yep.
it was from either
Last
last
week.
week or early. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now hear this surprise: SEAL Team 6 on ground in Venezuela. Are you serious?
Yeah.
They're actually there.
Yeah, well,
Oh, yeah,
if you
they have
read
to
the
be.
Washington Post article,
Yeah.
they said, first off, that everyone got confused because the former commander of SEAL Team 6 is Admiral Brady.
Right.
Right.
The operations being carried out in the Caribbean are not under U.S. Southern Command. They are under U.S. Special Operations Command.
Right.
He is in
They're
charge
not
of all
Southcom,
the
they're
combat
SOCOM.
operations. Correct. So the reporting said SEAL Team 6 identified the personnel on the boat and the origin of the drugs. Right? But SEAL
Okay.
Team 6 doesn't fly airplanes or drones,
Right.
other than these
Right.
little handheld Ravens. The aircraft that struck those boats was a U.S. Air Force Special Operations Command AC-130J Ghost Rider gunship. And it was using either these small diameter missiles or it was using Hellfire missiles, which they fire off of there.
Right.
Okay.
But when you make a statement that we know who was on the boat, where they originated, and what was on the boat, well, that means you have to be on the ground. You can see the imagery intelligence and visual intelligence
Right.
can be seen from a drone, any kind of drone.
But you
But
can't
for
get
you to
that kind
say,
of intel
I
unless you're
know
there.
who the individuals are, well, you're going to be either holed up in the mud in a sniper's hide looking out, or you're going to be
Right.
in a hotel, or you're going to be doing human intelligence operations with the
Right.
CIA. But
Right.
Malcolm, why the living F would you ever dedicate this many effing resources on the ground to this operation? And look, that's the dog of doom.
Oh yeah,
warning
I mean,
us all
it's-
about this.
I think we all know it's about regime
Yeah.
change and oil,
Yeah.
which I'm like, we
Yeah.
already did that within the last 25 years, and that didn't work out so well.
Right.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
Not at all.
It as somebody who is an expert in warfare, Does regime change, especially when you're trying to take over a major resource does that ever really work out well, or pretty much generally it works out crappy at best?
Works out crappy at best. And let me tell you something.
Thank you.
To be honest with you, because no one can see the premise of this campaign that is leading us to a war.
Right.
And we should have seen by now, we should have enough people in the Pentagon by now who understand that we cannot win wars against people who wear flip-flops, especially flip-flops into combat.
Oh, man.
All right? Which means that you are going against the base model of humanity. And the base model of humanity is all I have to do is live within the sea of my population and carry a rifle and get logistics and carry out hit and run attacks. And you have a modern version of you have a modern Latin speaking version of the march from Boston to Lexington and Concord. Right. Which was successful on the way out, but on the way back, they lost 800 men to guys behind trees.
Right.
Now, so we're not good at that, but Hegseth, this is all, look, I'm telling you, these video attacks are literally combat porn for his MAGA. For the MAGA base. They love those videos. Next, you're going to see gunships, right? Strafing people. They love those freaking videos.
And Fox plays that B-roll. I mean, they get one bit of B-roll. I can't tell you how many times that they have played the blowing up the ship, the one that they have, and blow up the ship. Although they did the same thing when they, attacked LA with ICE, and it was, 2 months of, hey, there's that same Waymo still burning. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's still burning as far as they're concerned.
And that's absolutely right. Yeah. And most of their B-roll was rioting from Portland in 2001.
Right.
So, geographically, this is literally the movie Wag the Dog.
This is all a show. This is all a show for them. It came from a Tom Clancy novel and a movie, and it's Wag the Dog, and this is all a giant effing TV show for these people.
It is. Absolutely.
It is. And it's even worse. There's another movie that is dictating what happens on the U.S.-Mexico border. And, your homework, should you accept it, is it's called Sicario, Dia del Soldado. Yep. And they are so in love. Not the first Sicario where the FBI agent comes along for fun, right? It's the second one where they have raging gun battles with the Mexicans and the Delta guys, Delta Force guys, murder every cop, and then they fly helicopters into Mexico, and they have their assassin out there just ruthlessly killing the women and children of
Bay kind of explosions and guns.
Trump already threatened to do this, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was already starting to happen. The problem with that movie is they have a Marine Corps, they have an Army, they have an Air Force, and that it could actually escalate to a shooting war. Well, but also, they're in love with these movies.
Claudia Scheinbaum is not a pushover.
She's a very smart woman.
Yes. I love the fact that constantly it seems like whenever she talks to him, Donald's like, I'm going to go down there. I'm going to show that Mexican president, blah, 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 blah. And they go into a meeting. He calls her up on the phone. He comes out and, so how'd you do it? And well, she's very nice.
Great. She's so pretty.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And the few times where, you've gotten the clips of her talking about it afterwards, and she's just like, and I just talked to him calmly. Yep. And it's like she's an elementary or a preschool teacher just talking about it. Talked to little Donnie and said he was a good boy.
She's like that TikTok video lady who talks to elementary school. Donald Trump elementary video school. Yes. Like, Donald, we play together and we share. Got it? And
Exactly.
He is a toddler. I mean, just listen to how he speaks. He's a toddler. He's a baby. That stupid Peace Prize. Come on.
Right. The FIFO Peace Prize. Here's a little. We got this in your Happy Meal.
You guys are the problem with people on the progressive side is we do not use our information warfare verbology, and you've got to re-manifest what that is. It is not a FIFA Peace Prize or a second prize. You got to call it his tantrum binky.
Yeah, there you go.
All right,
Absolutely.
the FIFA
You are
tantrum
correct.
binky.
Is FIFA
You
McDonald's
got your
Happy Meal
tantrum
price, right?
binky, Donald. You need us to get you got your Hamburglar, or your grimace.
He
Why don't
did.
you hold your binky, Donald? Put your binky around your neck.
And then Caroline can change his diaper
Caroline,
and put him down for a nap. And
That's right. Yeah,
Exactly.
maybe she'll breastfeed you.
Oh. Malcolm
We go blue.
Nance.
Malcolm Louise, man.
Love that. Malcolm, can we hang you around for one more round here?
Sure, why not?
Excellent. We love having Malcolm Nance here at the
Absolutely.
Politics Bar. We know you guys do too. So if you missed any of the talking here with Malcolm, the simple thing to do, remember, subscribe to the Politics Bar podcast on your phone or at thepoliticsbar.com. $6 a month, less than $1.50 a week. Helps feed Jody and me and helps allow us to invite wonderful people like Malcolm. So
I think
check
I'm
it out.
going to actually subscribe right now.
I hope you do. I hope you do. Check it out.
Please
Malcolm
do.
will be back just a minute. Freshen up your drink and come right back. It's a Tuesday night here at the Politics Bar.
We'll be right back after we pay some bills at the Politics Bar.
Tuesday night here at the Politics Bar. Thank you very much for reaching out to us on all of our social media platforms. And of course, thank you for subscribing to the Politics Bar podcast. Thank you also to our great radio affiliates. Yeah, you know that voice. It's the one, the only Malcolm Nance hanging out with us here. I know it's cold in a whole lot of the United States and Canada as well. It is ridiculously cold out there. But Jody's at the warm part of the bar. Plus, she's got that warm heart. So we're here. We're keeping you warm. And we appreciate that greatly. Malcolm, you are somewhere very cold. Jody, how warm is it there in California again?
Let me look. Hold on. Let me get
Say again?
exact cold, please. It's 80 degrees right now.
Oh. Is that right?
Don't
Which
worry,
is out
Malcolm.
of the ordinary.
Don't worry,
I
Malcolm.
actually don't approve.
It's below zero. It's below zero where I am here in the DC corner of the bar. So I mean, it's not as cold as where you are, but it still is not exactly warm.
Yeah. The funny thing is, this is not, what do we call those things? An Arctic blast?
Right.
Yeah.
This is like freaking Tuesday up here in Montreal.
Yeah, of course.
Literally.
Oh,
and it was
man.
minus 25 Celsius last night, which I think is like minus 17 Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
Chilly.
This is Arctic weather.
Yes.
Yeah. It's cold, but
I don't
mean,
appreciate it.
but look, it's not as cold, I think, as what's coming to Pete Kegbreath. Because my hypothetical is that having been in and Jody, since you haven't been in the military, but you have been on many a set. It's kind of like if you've been on a movie or TV set. If you are in a bad group and everybody's sniping at each other.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think Admiral Bradley has his P's and Q's in order and has everybody below him that was involved in all of this on his side, because the stories we're hearing coming out from the Democrats about these boat strikes, they all seem to be the same. They all seem to, like, if you were a cop, a detective, and you're sitting there trying to get your stories from different people, and everybody is unconnected telling the same story the same way, and then you go to the Republicans, and they all have a different way of saying, oh, no, it's not Donald, and it wasn't Pete Kegbreath, so I don't know who it could be. I think they're trying to throw the Admiral under the bus, or the boat, as it may be. Right, exactly. And I think he's already got everything in order. So, and obviously he's talked to the Armed Services Committees of both House and Senate now. I think he knew that they were going to try to throw him under. And I know your experience. So what are you thinking on this?
I think Bradley's done.
You think he's out?
I don't think he'll be put out, because Trump will probably promote him for all of this. But I suspect when the second video comes out, don't forget there were 41 or 48 minutes between strike and restrike.
So it wasn't a double tap. It was just two strikes.
No, it was two strikes. One strike to sink it. The other 48 minutes was them refilling their coffee cups and debating whether they should kill that guy, and I said what they should do. Now, you got to remember, this is a C-130 gunship orbiting 41 minutes
flying
over
around
there.
and around.
Now, all of this,
and around.
yeah. Are we allowed to use naughty language on this
No,
program?
no.
I already
radio
dropped an
affiliates.
S-bomb.
Yeah, our radio affiliates wouldn't appreciate it.
Girl,
But yeah.
for me to name a place.
I find it funny. I find it funny that the sailor was saying F. In fact, both of us were saying F, and Jody's the one who dropped the F-bomb, or the
Oh,
S-bomb.
my
S-bomb.
gosh.
S-bomb.
So what I meant to say was this. They're floating around 41 to 48 minutes, getting permission. These guys come out of a boat, out of the ocean. There are 9 dead bodies around them, blown literally into pieces. The upper section of the boat capsizes because its impact flipped it. Right. And they cling to this wreckage, which at that point is known to under the United Nations Treaty for International Law of the Sea, which is a series of actual treaties. You know, treaties, when signed by America, have force of American law.
Right.
So that moment under law of the sea, they were shipwrecked. Their vessel lost buoyancy. It was in a non-serviceable state.
And unlike Tom Cotton said, they didn't have any radios.
Yeah, I mean, I put that out on Twitter the other day because, you know, I started in signals intelligence. Right. And I'm like, okay, let's assume these imaginary radios that they pulled out of the debris and dead bodies, of which, by the way, sharks are coming, not joking. They exist in the Caribbean.
Right. Absolutely.
And they get this imaginary radio. Unless they had a very large radio with a large whip antenna, the most they're going to be able to transmit to is the horizon. And you can see the horizon. And all you're going to transmit on is the International Distress Channel, Channel 16, bridge-to-bridge distress frequency. And what you're going to say is, Mayday, I've been sunk, we're on fire. And every other vessel, including U.S. Navy vessels, are obligated to come to your assistance, which is why when they didn't understand what went on, they looked up, they took off their shirt, which is the international symbol of distress. Exactly. Because there was an aircraft. And there was an AC-130J Ghost Rider gunship that fired again and killed them. There is no way they want that video ever shown.
Right.
Wow.
And if they can, because it will be pure, unadulterated murder. Which means now our enemies can argue that they can kill shipwrecked U.S. sailors or mariners with impunity and say, you were moving weapons to my country, right? They can behead you and we would have no moral standing. When I taught at the Survival, Evasion, Resistance, and Escape School, Geneva Convention, it was all about the moral juxtaposition of good democratic America versus bad war criminal North Korea, North Vietnam, the Nazis, the Japanese who were gunning our sailors down
in World War II.
You know, in World War II. In fact, there's a famous case of the U-5852 that sunk a ship, and because they wanted to keep their mission secret, they killed 32 of the 35 sailors who were in lifeboats and on pieces and pieces of wood. And the Germans' argument was, we had to sink the parts of the ship. It just happened to have human beings on them, and we put bullets through all the human beings and threw hand grenades at them. Those captain and all the senior crew were executed after Nuremberg.
So here's the thing. Liz, over in the blue sky corner of the bar here, she threw us this question here yesterday, and we're out to some of our legal people, but we know that you'll know this one too. So if the admiral is basically given the responsibility for this and is convicted under courts martial, will Donald Trump likely pardon him?
First off, he ain't going to be tried. There is so much undue command influence is what the phrase is. By Trump making these statements, Hesketh making these statements, to tell you the truth, it has to be kicked up the chain of command.
Right.
Now, Bradley,
when you got undue command influence on like that, it kicks it up the chain of command, and the only one up the chain of command from him is Kegbreath.
Yeah. And Bradley has already said he gave the order to do it. And
Right.
as a sailor, what's his argument going to be? And here's what they're trying to say. They're trying to say that any quantity of any drug has now been designated as a weapon system,
which is stupid.
Which once it's in a boat, it has been launched like a cruise missile.
Oh man! So
and that is delivery
defense?
within the continental United States or even Mexico, Honduras, and it makes its way to the United States. It is the equivalent of a missile's warhead payload exploding and killing American citizens. Now, this is laughable.
Right.
Considering this year was the year of the single largest seizures by the Coast Guards of drugs, capturing all the crews, the vessels, gaining the intelligence on their countries of origin and places of origin, and those people have been prosecuted. In fact, the day after this strike, a Coast Guard cutter pulled into Miami with like 3 tons of recovered drugs.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, this is just straight up murder. The admiral has just court-martialed himself. And to answer your question, Trump will promote him. He will retire. He will run for Congress as a Republican and get elected to Congress. Man. That's what Trump does to his loyalists. War criminals in Congress.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
When the video,
but it's not
video comes out, you will hate yourself. You will hate yourself for being an American. Trust me.
Oh, I mean, I'm already frustrated, obviously, because of Donald. Although that's them. That's their America. Our America is different. We actually believe in things like rules and laws and that kind of thing. So I at least try to compartmentalize it a little bit.
By the way, the video's coming out.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to let Trump's going to release it. The way that they had all of the naked Melania pictures before the election in 2016, that was released by Trump because he was just like, the dudes will dig this. Right. Well, that's what he's going to do this time. And they're going to have it to, the soundtrack of, Highway to the Danger Zone by Kenny Loggins.
Kenny Loggins will sue the hell out of him for that.
Of course, but they're going to have like pictures of the AC-130 banking and the missile coming off the rail. And it'll be like, this is what we do to bad hombres. Jeez. Dude, I'm not joking. I'm saying
maybe Donnie could just use some music from Kiss since he had him kissing his ass in the Oval Office.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, well.
That whole thing. So next year, obviously with FAFO-PAC and with a lot of the activism that you've been doing, what are you thinking going to be kind of the things that people need to be amping up for as far as for activism for 2026?
Yeah, I mentioned our FAFOPAC.org, which is my 501c4 political action committee. Right. And we are starting to have some good success with our highway, our overpass takeover.
I've seen
and what I want people who are doing overpass takeovers, even if it's for a day, come to the FAFO-PAC website and register your overpass on the map. And we're trying to get 1,000 overpasses. And I keep telling people, make it a dance party.
Right.
When you get there, put up the signs, then put on freaking ABBA and dance with your No King sign or whatever the message you want. Right? But take that overpass over. And the more trafficked it is, you can be there for 10 minutes and leave the signs.
Yeah.
Right? And your message will reach tens of thousands because you cannot escape being on that highway and you cannot escape looking up. Just so long as nothing falls off it.
Yeah, Lonnie and I were driving, I think, up to Santa Barbara a while back, and there was and I was like, oh, they listen to Malcolm.
Yeah.
That's right, you were telling me. They put up a sign.
We call this fun trouble instead of good trouble.
It is, but it is fun trouble, and it's helpful. And we are extremely glad that you have been doing that, and we're always glad to have you back in the bar. We'll have you back in the bar a lot more often next year in 2026.
Yeah, well, you never know. You might have me back next week after we invade Venezuela.
I'm good. I'm not good with invading Venezuela, but I am good with having you back here at the bar, which pretty much, hanging out with Malcolm Nance in a bar is always a good thing, regardless of what the reason is. So,
All right.
invading Venezuela might be not as good of a reason, but I would still be very glad to have you in the bar at any point in time.
Okay.
All
Malcolm,
right,
thank
sir.
you so much, man. Stay warm. We know you're going to put on that wonderful toque and get out there.
Yeah, I am.
Malcolm, thank you so much,
Thank you
man.
so much, sir. We really appreciate
We
it.
still have a great drink of the day to get to. You're going to go nuts for that one. Also, we've got Charlie Pierce coming in as well. It is a 2 for Tuesday, 2 guests, 2 hours. Hang out, freshen up your drink. You know what you got to do. It's the top of the hour. Go down the hall and do your thing, and then come back and see us right here at the Politics Bar.
We'll be right back after we pay some bills at the Politics Bar.